Be seated. All the way to number in your honky-tonk hymnal to 47 in your honky-tonk hymnal. When you follow Jesus, you can trade some things, some good things. Trading my sorrow, I'm trading my shame, I'm laying them down for the joy of the Lord. His will endure, and His joy is gonna be my strength. Though the sorrow may last all night, joy comes in the morning. I'm trading my sorrow, I'm trading my shame, I'm laying them down for the joy of the Lord. Singing, yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord, amen. Sing with me now, let's bring it down. Singing, yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord, amen. Thank you so much. Not done till Mike says it's done.
That's right. Awesome, band. Thank you. Mike Lachlan there shredding it. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Flora-Bama Church. I'm John Mason Smith. I'm on staff here at the Flora-Bama. Hang on. All right. He's going to demo that shirt for me. He knows what to do. Hey, thank you for coming today. If you're a first-time guest here, we want to make sure we get your information. We have a gift for you. Stop by the info table. You see that over there, and there's another one over here before you leave, and we have a little present for you. We want to thank you for coming here. We have a saying, it's okay to not be okay. And by that we mean that just as you are, that's how we want you. And we appreciate you coming out today. You're now one of us. You go to a bar church. Ooh. Hey, if you didn't get one, raise your hand up. I'll get these out. But we're going to use these programs all. This is one of these days we really want you to have one, because during the message, yes, but then you're going to get some homework that's built into it. So make sure you have one. If you don't have one, I got hundreds of people ready to hand one out. Just stick your hand way up in the air. They'll get them to you, and we'll get those out. Thank you. See that happening? And it's probably happening upstairs as well. I want to say hi to the people on the beach. We actually broadcast this out on the beach. Everybody laying out right now, catching some waves, listening about Jesus. Hey, that's what it's all about right there. You're at the beach. Hey, we want to also take your prayer requests. So if you have a prayer request, or if you need some more information, you want to sign up for small groups, you stop by our info tables and get one of those little cards. They have a next step card, and fill that out. Give us your information. You can give it to the person at the table, or you can give it into one of our giving stations. We have 3 of them. So there's one right there, and then one outside says giving station right above it. It's also where you can put money for an offering. Hey, we thank you for your donations. With that money, we bring the gospel of Jesus behind the bars and prisons, with God behind bars, right here in Escambia County, Blackwater Correctional. We also get involved in feeding families, helping students that don't have enough food. We help rescue people here up and down the coast. Your giving helps support all of that, and we thank you very much for that. Hey, I did want to have a little contest here. All right, if you've never been here before, and this is your very first time, I don't mean first time this year, and you would like to win a free shirt, raise your hand up. All right, all but one of you are going to be disappointed. I'm going to give this shirt to whoever I think came the farthest than anyone else. And you're the first time here, you've never been here before, and you came further than anyone else. Yell out where you're from. Now, if I think it's farther, I'll give you a shirt. Pittsburgh? Texas. What? Detroit. Texas, Detroit. I think Texas is closer, only because we're like down here somewhere. Detroit's looking good. Anyone got a beat? Nobody from Barcelona today? Detroit. Way in the back, but you got to yell it. There's no way I'm going to hear you. Ohio ain't going to win. Okay, somebody go find out what they're yelling on the beach there. She thinks she's farther. She better be farther in Detroit after all that.
New York.
New York.
New York City.
New York.
That's where they make
Detroit.
salsa.
Thank you for all that effort. I'm giving it to Detroit. Hey. I was sleeping through geography. Hey, everybody stand up. Hey, and I'll come see you in a minute, Detroit. Thank you. Hey, find somebody you don't know that's further away than you and wish them a happy morning.
Please open your honky tonk hymnals to number 53. Webb's going to lead us in a great song here. How great they are.
Oh Lord, my God, when I'd awesome wonder, consider all thy works thy hands have made. I see the stars, I hear the rolling thunder, thou power throughout the universe displayed, and sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art, and sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. And when I think that God his Son not sparing, sent him to die, I scarce can take it in. And on that cross, my burdens gladly bearing, he bled and died to take away my sins. Amen. And sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art, and sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. I shall come with shouts of acclamation and take me home, where joy shall fill my heart, and I shall bow in humble adoration and then proclaim, my God, how great thou art, and sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art, and sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Y'all jump into the chorus one more time. And sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art, and sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art, how great thou art, how great thou art.
Thank you so much. Number 130, if you want to sing along. We got the Flora-Bama theme song along with Amazing Grace. We're going to mix it up a bit. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound, saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. Sweet home up in heaven, where the skies are so blue. Sweet home up in heaven, Lord, I'm coming home to you. One more time. Sweet home up in heaven, where the skies are so blue. Sweet home up in heaven, Lord, I'm coming home to you. Here I come. Take me home, Jesus.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Don't you love this church? I promise no other church in America played that song that way this morning. I promise. We're so glad you guys are here. Welcome. My name is Dan. I'm the pastor here at the Flora-Bama. We're so glad you're hanging out with us. All of you first-timers, thanks for making this a part of your weekend. Well, we have taken a couple weeks off. How many guys were able to get on Andy Andrews being here a couple weeks ago? That was awesome. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. And my friend Ben spoke this last week. Well, we've been in a series, before they rudely interrupted this whole thing, I'm just kidding, on what has been called, what we refer to as the 10 Commandments, which is, I know, everyone's favorite subject. Now, before we get into that, being a pastor, I have some very, as you can imagine, some very interesting conversations as kind of like part of my job. And so I get emails and phone calls, and I run into people here and there with great questions and kind of divulging their life, or they've been pondering something for a while and they'd love to hear my opinion on that thing, whatever that thing is. But I got to tell you, I've had some strange conversations before. One of my favorite ones of all time. Don't ask me how it all happened, because I really couldn't tell you, but I ended up speaking at a local elementary school for Career Day. And the only catch was, it was great. The only catch was I could not talk about God or religion. Okay. Why'd you have me speak? You know? Great. Sounds good. So what do you guys want me to say? Well, anyways, it was really a lot of fun. And at the end, you're supposed to leave room for questions. And these kids at elementary school, 4th, 5th grade, greatest questions ever. My favorite question of all time, which I tried to steer away from when he asked it, this little 4th grade kid raised his hand and said, do you ever get called to go to haunted houses? And I said, oh man, how am I going to answer this question? So I kind of like deflected it. And then the teacher goes, that's a great question. Can we talk some more about that? Like, ma'am, you're not helping me out at all. So for the next 10 minutes, it was all about haunted houses and our ghost reel. I thought, oh my God, get me out of here, you know? But I run into people with some very, 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 not only great questions, but some very interesting thoughts about God, right? Some very interesting thoughts about God, what people would call like theology, people's beliefs about God. And those beliefs, that theology ranges from one end of the spectrum to the other. Massive differences. Like, believe it or not, there are people here today and up in our main bar watching. You're probably sitting next to some people, or at least in the same row as some people, that have unbelievably different beliefs than you do. Believe it or not, different beliefs, all in the same church, right? And when we get together, we may not talk about the things that we really think about or that we really believe, because we kind of want to be on the up and up, you know. But I get emails asking me about what do we believe as a church before you come and attend. That's a pretty good question to ask. Hey, heard about your church, I'm in the area, or I just moved to the area. What do you believe as a church? I would like to know before we show up. And that's a very weird question. What do you believe? Well, so I usually ask back, what specifically are you wondering about? Because they're really trying to get at like one or two things, you know? And so I get some of the most unbelievable beliefs ever, reasons why people would never come to the church. And questions about, do we pass a plate for offering? And questions about baptism, and questions about the songs that we sing. Or I get nailed, like, you know, I'll probably get a couple emails because of this song that we did today, not showing it honor and reverence as it was originally written, you know, anyways, all that nonsense. But what's very interesting, over the years, there's been a very interesting theology or belief that seems to come up a lot, not so much like a statement of faith, and I don't get asked about it in the sense that, what do you believe as a church? But just in conversation, there seems to be this very strange idea about God, this earth, and the hereafter, you know, heaven. And it seems as if this is not a blanket statement over a lot of people, but a lot of, I should say, a good percentage of Christians, Christ followers, I've had conversations with, cannot wait for God to get us the heck out of this stinky, evil earth into heaven. And I've just kind of noticed that theme. Have you ever had that conversation with somebody? I cannot wait just to get out of here, right? You know? And so it seems like a predominant theology would be like exiting strategy. I'm a Christian, I'm going to heaven, get me to heaven, get me out of here, and, you know? And the weird thing is, I have those conversations with people who are very young, very, very young. They kind of regurgitate that information, and people that have been on the earth a long, 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 long time, right? And that was my way of not saying you're old. Been on the earth a long, 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 long time. And Herb said, like me, yeah. So I wasn't going to say it, but I was thinking you right when I said that. And the predominant thinking is, oh, I'm just glad I'm going to heaven. Let's get there. Let's get there. Now, I want to come back to that thinking in just a minute. And maybe you and I have had that thinking, or we do have that thinking, but I want to pause it right there, and I want to jump into a commandment that seemingly has nothing to do with that. So just got to stay with me, okay? In your program, there's a verse that we're going to read together. Now, there's two places in the Bible that you can find what is commonly referred to, popularly called the 10 Commandments. Two places. They're quoted throughout. Jesus himself even quoted some, but Exodus, the second book of the Bible, chapter 20. Exodus 20 is a place you could read them. And we're going to be reading out of Deuteronomy chapter 5. They say the same thing. Not one is not better than the other. But Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 12 through 14, may be a commandment that gets missed sometimes. If you ask somebody, hey, name off as many commandments as you can. We usually start out with don't kill anybody, don't lie, you know, so it starts there. But this one gets left out a lot. Observe or keep the Sabbath day by keeping it holy as the Lord your God has commanded you. You have 6 days each week for your ordinary work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath day of rest dedicated to the Lord your God. On that day, no one in your household may do any work. Can I get an amen? It's an interesting, kind of a strange commandment. It was important enough to make the 10 Commandments, like the Big Ten, right? It's a very interesting commandment. And for most of us, our background, if we have one, and some of us may not, but if you have some kind of Bible or church background, to most people that means you can't do anything on Sunday except for go to church. Right? That's kind of what it's meant for a lot of people. When I grew up not going to church, that was what some people I knew did on Sundays. It was just another weekend for us, and I thought, man, that would stink. Got to wake up on a Sunday, middle of the school year, to go do something, to sit and listen to another teacher. You know what I mean? That was in my head, for an hour or a couple hours service. And so Sunday, you're not supposed to do anything. Now, I don't even know what that really meant, because there's obviously people doing stuff that believe the Bible on Sunday. So what does that not anything mean? Now, I have been around some people that look at Sunday as a thing. You can do nothing. You can't read the paper. You can't do any work. And there's certain religions, certain denominations that hold true to choosing a day, whether that be Saturday or Sunday, where you do nothing. But I want to put this in context, because if we just read it, it's like a strange throwaway commandment, right? I mean, we would agree that murdering probably is not the best life choice. And we may intentionally say, hey, we aren't going to do that stuff, man. But working on the Sabbath, that's not that big of a deal. So it ends up being kind of a throwaway commandment. And here's how I know that. Are you ready for this? I'm not going to ask anyone about their murdering past, but how many of you have ever gone a full 7 days and not taken 1 day of rest? You've worked like, yeah, see, we don't care about that commandment. We're okay with that sin. I'm just kidding. That was a joke. But it's kind of a throwaway, right? If we don't look at it within the context of why it was being said. Now, I don't want to rehash the last several weeks of the conversation, but these 10 boundaries, or the commandments, were written to a very specific group of people. Several million people that had been enslaved for some historians believe, upwards of 400 plus years. So generation after generation after generation have lived as slaves, and the people being told these 10 commandments knew nothing but slavery. It was their great-great-grandparents or great-great-great-grandparents that were free and then were eventually enslaved, these Hebrew people, the Israelites, by the Egyptians. So this whole group of people that are being told they didn't know freedom. For them, this was a revolutionary idea. Revolutionary idea. Not to us, but to them. 7 days a week. Egypt, the master, had their foot on their throat, demanding work sun up to sun down. As a matter of fact, you don't survive unless you just work more. How are we gonna gain food? We just have to work more. And regardless of what they said, they just had to obey. That's the life that they lived, the slave life. And so God swoops down and rescues this entire group of people. Figure out now how to live outside of slavery, but not just outside of being whipped and beaten to work, but outside of slave thinking. And God is drawing them to now trust Him rather than trust Pharaoh and Egypt. And within the first 4 commandments that He gives them, He says, hey, no longer are you to live enslaved to your work 7 days a week. You are to take a day off. For them, a day off meant no eating. We don't work, we don't eat. A day off, to try to sneak a day off, meant your life could be in danger. If you're that exhausted that you need to rest, you're too weak, and we're going to eliminate you from the pack, right? And we'll find someone stronger to take your place, the Egyptians, right? And so, for them, it was a revolutionary idea to not just get out of slavery, but to stop thinking the way a slave thinks, to take a day of rest. Now, God wasn't eliminating work. In fact, the first part of that verse says, you have 6 days each week for your ordinary work. And so God was saying, work. toil, labor, build, create, invent, invest, do, sweat a little bit, do something. I've given you gifts and abilities. You have breath in your lungs and strength in your body. Go and work. But you are no longer a slave to work. You're no longer a slave to work. And God is trying to move this people forward in their thinking, because God did not create humanity to be programmed robots just to do. In fact, we are not human doings. We are human beings. And so God is trying to change the way that this group of millions of slaves thinks, the way that they think. And to be honest, it wasn't really about the working or the not working. It was a commandment to push them to trust Him. Not to trust a system set up by another group of people, that you just enter into the system, you jump into the system, and you work, and you work, and you work, and you work 7 days a week from sunup to sundown, and then you have children, and they work from sunup to sundown. And they started to trust a system that if we are to work, the only way we are to live is if we are to work ourselves literally to death. We wake up to work, we go to bed. Work is life, and the only life living is work. And so God is moving forward to say, you guys can trust me. As a matter of fact, you can trust me so much. If you were to take a day to rest, you could take it and worship me. You can take it and rest. Then your life actually will not diminish. I will bless when you obey. I will bless when you obey. And this is not just a old idea. The next verse in your program is Matthew chapter 11. Now this is several thousand years later. Jesus is standing before a group of people teaching, and he says this. Jesus said, "Come to me, all you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, I will give you rest." So Jesus is specifically talking about a group of people that are tired. They're exhausted. They've been carrying life around, and it's getting heavy on them. They are physically tired. And Jesus says, hey, come to me. I'm going to give you some rest. And then he says, take my yoke upon you. Let me teach you. But because I am humble and gentle at heart, and you will find rest for your soul. For my yoke is easy to bear, my burden I give you is light. So Jesus actually takes it a step further. And here's what he says. At the beginning, watch how God moves this group of people forward. You guys are working nonstop. You think the only way to survive in life is to work. So basically, your whole life is work. That's the meaning of life for you, is work. I want you to take one day to rest your body. I want you to take just one day. Take a rest. Take a time out. They called that day the Sabbath. Several thousand years later, Jesus comes on the scene, and he ups the ante. And he says, not only do you need to rest your body from the labor that you're doing, because you need to labor, work, sweat, give, create, do, but I'm not just going to give you rest for your body. I'm going to give you rest for your soul, which Jesus is offering through him. Come to me, and you'll find rest, but you're going to find a different kind of rest. It's going to be a rest that a nap just can't take care of. In fact, it's going to be a kind of rest that just taking a day off will not take care of. It will be rest in your soul. That's a whole different kind of rest. And we all know that, right? This is one of those places where you come down to vacay. How many guys are here right now on vacation? Yeah, look at that, man. Yeah, this is a vacation spot, man. Welcome. We're glad you're hanging out with us. You came to church and sweating with us on vacation. And have you ever gone on vacation and gone home rested? Isn't that what it's for? Right? That happens about 10% of the time, right? We've all gone on vacation and we are wiped out. We need, as they say, a vacation from we're exhausted. Exhausted. Just the other day, I took my family down to the beach, and they didn't want to dig holes, build sandcastles. I barely moved. I stood in the water. I've got little kids. Most of my kids are little, and so they can't go too far out, so they just stand there and slap around in the water. So I stand there and watch them and laugh, over and over and over again, and take a gazillion pictures. And we did not do anything strenuous, right? Sitting out in the sun, went and sat back on the beach. They dried off, then they'd run back out. I walked the length of the tent maybe 3 times. That was the extent of my work. And I was exhausted. It was my day off, and I went home. I said, babe, my wife, Lindsay, I said, babe, these kids are wearing me out. What'd you guys do? I guess nothing. So we've all rested, but not felt rested. There's a different kind of rest. I've taken a nap and woken up and still been stressed out. I have gone to rest, and my body was rested, but my insides were uneasy. Stress or anxiety, and vacation didn't solve it. That nap didn't solve it. Because what I was experiencing was not a need of physical rest. I needed rest in my soul. Rest in my soul. Now, there's something very interesting about God offering you physical and, let's call it, spiritual or a rest for your soul. Why, if the main thinking is to get out of here, I just can't wait to enter into the sweet by and by one day, I'm just praying, come Lord Jesus, come, get me out of this evil world, then why is God offering us rest for here? Wouldn't it just be better to become a Christ follower and then boom, we get translated into heaven? If that's the whole point, if heaven's the whole point of this whole thing, why didn't he just take us out of here when we have made a faith decision? If you've made a decision to follow Christ and you're a Christian, why didn't he just snatch us out of here? If that's the whole goal, I'll tell you why. Because this life matters. Listen, the whole point is not to get out of here. Let me tell you how I know that. Jesus himself left heaven to come here. That's how bad he wanted to be here, so that he could redeem us. He left all that is heaven to be with us. The goal is not to get out of here. There's this really crazy prayer that it's very well known, and we even say it here once in a while when we do communion. It's called the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. God cares deeply, Jesus cares deeply about this life. And the goal is not to get out of here, it's to bring heaven here. The goal isn't get to heaven, the whole goal is to get heaven to earth. And God is saying this. Here's what he's saying with this commandment. Listen, if you spend your whole life, which you're allowed to do, working and working and working to do some more work, you're missing out on the life that God has given you. The life that's right here, right now. Now listen, heaven, I've not been there, but I heard it's awesome. I've read a couple things that it's amazing. I'm not discounting a deep desire to want to be with God. What I'm saying is, don't try to press fast forward on your life, because if God did not want you here, you would not be here. So in other words, he wants you here. If there is breath in your lungs, this life matters. And the fourth commandment, to observe the Sabbath day, is God getting us all to slow down. to slow down. It's not so much about taking a day off. However, it's a great idea. I would argue God thinks taking a day off is a wise thing to do. And I would say your doctor may think the same. I will tell you that there's more going on here than taking a day just to do nothing. God is intentionally starting with a group of people, asking them to put the brakes on a little bit, because if you're not careful, this life will be gone before you know it. I was standing right out here. Someone asked me how old my youngest child was, and I said 2. And then I said, well, but he'll be 3 next month. And as I have been told in the 11 years of having children, time goes by so fast. I don't get the first 2 years and 11 months back with my little guy, Obadiah. His name's Obadiah. You know what his middle name is? His middle name is Happy. That's a true story. And he's the happiest kid you'll ever meet in your life. I don't get those 2 years and 11 months back with Obadiah. And if you and I don't slow down, we're going to miss the life that God has placed right in front of us. What seems to be a very obscure commandment ends up being a different way to live for most of us. If someone were to ask me, which nobody has, to rephrase the 4th commandment, it would be this: hey, slow down or life will pass you up. Slow down. Slow down. You're going to pass by all these amazing things happening all around you. Because God did not create us to be just human doings. We are to soak in His creation around us. The art and the beauty and the sunrises and the sunsets. And if you're down here on vacation, you have yet to see a sunset or sunrise out here. It'll blow your mind. And I get to live here. We get to enjoy great food, especially down here in the South, where you double and triple fry everything. It has been given to us amply in every restaurant for us to enjoy. To slow down and enjoy friends and enjoy family. I told a funny story to the worship team just a few minutes ago. I got a call on Friday that a very dear friend of mine had a heart attack and passed away. And I about died. John McGinnis, you will love this story. Get ready. So I am standing there with the phone in my hand, and this person says, everyone calm down, because this is not true. Okay? The information I'm about to give you is not accurate, but it was told to me this way. Dan, you will not believe this. Mike Laughlin, who was just up here shredding on the guitar. Mike Laughlin today had a heart attack and died. I almost had a heart attack and died. I thought, what? I was tearing up. Mike's one of my favorite people in the world. I'm bent over. I'm in the bedroom. And I go, what? And my wife comes busting in. It's about like 9 o'clock at night on Friday. My wife comes busting in the bedroom. What's going on? I put the phone. I said, Mike Laughlin just had a heart attack and died. She's crying. I'm crying. I'm thinking, oh my God, what is going on? So I'm calling everybody that I can think that is on shift here at the Flora-Bama. I am calling. No one's answering their phone, which makes it even worse. So my wife says, call Mike's phone. I look at her like, she said, maybe someone will pick it up. They'll see your name and pick it up. I call. You guys, my heart is going. I'm like on the verge of bawling. And I'm standing here, and I'm standing in my bedroom with like my hand on the bed, staring at my wife, Lindsay, and I call Mike's phone, and my prayer was, God, please, somebody pick up. Ring, no one's gonna pick up. Ring, picks up. It's Mike. Hey, Dan. I thought, oh my God, give me an ambulance. Hey, Dan, what's up? I'm like, Mike, you're alive. He goes, yeah. I said, so I told him the story. I said, Mike, I was about to cry. He goes, I think I'd be crying too, you know? I said, no, you'd have been dead. You want me to cry? So I talked to Mike this morning, and he goes, yeah, man, preacher calling me on Friday night at 9 o'clock at night. I'm answering the phone. I don't know what's going on. And I thought to myself, when that phone call was over and my adrenaline calmed down, I relaxed, I thought, God, that would break my heart. And if we're not careful, we're going to pass by giving some friends a hug and some love, because that phone call could come at any time with any of our family or any of our friends. And God is asking us to just slow down, enjoy what you enjoy. Take some time to soak in the beach and the fun and your family and Alabama football. I got some booze right up front. I try to throw that in there once a month. To slow down and soak it in. God is not interested in striking people with lightning if you don't take a day off once a week. That's not the point of the commandment. What God wants to give you is rest for your soul. And can I just tell you, some of us, to be really honest, we could use to slow down and take a day off. We could. Because what Jesus said was, come to me and I'll give you rest, and I'll offer you rest for your soul. 2 rests. Because our God did not create us to be robots, to go sun up to sundown. So he just didn't create us to be like that. And he did not create us to carry unrest and pain and hurt and anger and unforgiveness around we're not wired to do it, to carry it around. And what Christ offers us is both rest physically, but more importantly, a rest in our soul. Commandment number 4. Observe or honor the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. 6 days you should work, but on the 7th, let it be a day unto the Lord, he says. Jesus said, come to me. And what Christ offers us is more than just a day off. He offers us a rest for 7 days a week, 365 days a year in our soul. The 4th commandment's a quick throwaway. We're quick to break it. And in the society that we live in, we're quick not to slow down. We are on the move and we are going, and we are flying through it with so much passing us by. Christ offers you rest in your soul. And he's asking us through what seems like a very basic, kind of a strange commandment, to slow down, to enjoy his creation. Because here's what starts to happen. When you choose to open your life up to God, and he gives you the rest and peace in your soul, you will notice the world around you happens not to have that much peace and that much solace and that much calmness in their life. And then God unleashes us to bring peace in turmoil situations because we have peace in our souls. And when there is anger and hate and violence, we come in as God's followers, as Christians, and we bring peace and joy and love when there is hate and unforgiveness and turmoil. See, God wants to bring you rest in your soul, but then turn you into a weapon of peace in the world around you. So this rest isn't just for you. It's for you and the world around us. Come to me, Jesus said. Come to me, all of you who are weary. I want to ask you a very basic question. And I'm kind of asking it on how you feel physically, but I'm really asking how you're feeling internally. Are you at peace in your soul? Do you feel rested inside? Is the naps and the vacations great, but there's a peace within that you feel like you may be missing? That's what Christ offers, a different kind of rest. Here's what I would love to do. I would love to say a prayer really for two things, because I don't want to dismiss the fact that some of us are too busy to rest ourselves. It's a very real thing, isn't it? It's very real that some of us just need a day off. And can I tell you, some of you that have families, your family needs you to have a day off. Listen to me. Your family needs you to have a day off. Some of you could use a good week with your family. There's some great wisdom I heard. A wise man once said this: to live in rest, you must divert daily. In other words, find a couple minutes, 5, 10, 15 minutes where you can just take a breath, rest and relax. You may not be able to take hours, but you can take a moment to divert your attention, to call that person, to just take a break. Divert daily, withdraw weekly. That's a day. That's a Sabbath day. And abandon annually. Take some time away from that phone and that laptop and that office and that job and that career, and get away so that you can find rest in your soul. And for some of us in the room that have a really free schedule, it's a little bit more free maybe than most people, it doesn't take us long to find something to do and fill our days with other stuff to do. You can be retired, you can be set up financially so you don't work, and you can still be going nonstop and not having rest in your soul. Divert daily, withdraw weekly, abandon annually. I threw a little bit of bonus material in your program. I'm not going to read this. This is Psalm 23. If you don't know what to do daily, like what am I going to do? Turn the TV on? Like what am I going to do daily or weekly? I gave you Psalm 23 as a challenge for this week to divert daily. 1 moment every day for the next 7 days. See how it goes. I want you to slowly read. Don't do it just to do it, because I don't care. I care. But you could tell me you did it. I'm not going to know, I'm not checking in on anybody, but I want you to slowly read through Psalm 23. You don't even have to carry your Bible around. You got it right there in the program. To slowly, not yet, sir, not yet. No, I'm just kidding. To slowly read through it. It's going to take you less than a minute. If you read really slow like me, it may take you a full minute. And just let God's words refresh you for the next 7 days. 7 days. That's about 7 minutes in your week. If you don't have 7 minutes in your week, we have to have a whole other conversation about your life. Here's my prayer. My prayer is this: we would take rest seriously. I'm not talking about laziness. I'm not talking about like tapping out on. I'm talking about resting your body so that you can be the best you possible, and receiving rest in your soul from the only one who can give it, and that's through Jesus Christ. Would you bow your heads with me so I can pray? Father, I'm grateful for your word, that there is so much wisdom in something that seems like throwaway. To honor a day, to take some time, to slow down. God, thank you for pushing us to work and to create, but also to enjoy the world around us, our family, our friends, the home that you've blessed us with, the places we get to go, the vehicle that we get to drive, the neighbors that you've placed in our lives, the co-workers, the church family, to slow down and enjoy a meal with a loved one, to slow down and watch a sunrise and a sunset, to enjoy that book, to watch that game and have fun with friends, and to take in the world that you've placed us in. God, may we never be the type of people that just want to get out of here to some place in the hereafter, but to bring heaven here. I pray that we would be carriers of that peace and that hope and that love to a world around us. And we pray these things in Jesus' name. The Flora-Bama family said,
Amen. Thank you, Dan. Hey, first-time guests, we have a little gift for you at the info table. Stop by and let us know who you are and kind of meet you, and we'll give you that gift. Hey, you got the Psalm 23 right above it. You got we invite you to join our Monday night replay. It's in your program. Check it out. Love to have you. We'll talk more about this topic. Everybody, we say this every week. It's in Romans 8. If God is for us, who can be against you? Yes. See you next week.
Some bright morning when this life is over.